Good afternoon, and it's Lilia here from Heal Scotland and Scotland's Wild Medicine Festival participants. And this afternoon, I've got Giovanna Franklin with me, who lives in Glasgow and is a homeopath. Giovanna, thank you so much for taking part in the festival and also for coming on the podcast. How are you?
I'm great, and thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for organizing this.
I know it's very exciting now. It's starting to become real. I think because we had the goddess gatherings, I was kind of caught up with that, and now it's like full power going to the festival, and the tickets are going brilliantly. So it's really, really exciting. So homeopathy. Now, this is something that I've been into for a long, long time. I used to have a friend who did it in up Noban, actually. I don't know if you would maybe know her. I don't know if there's a small homeopathic network. Kim was her name. Anyway.
No, I don't. It doesn't resonate, but I do know quite a few homeopaths around Glasgow area and Scotland. Yes, and we all know each other. Yeah, it's a small world.
Yes, well, that's what I figured. Kim used to come down to I had a salon, which was salon, and we had a spa and a treatment room. So the idea was, again, the natural healing and, people being able to come to under one roof and have all these different therapy experiences. So that's really where I learned about homeopathy and also, about the power of it and how it actually works. And I think, one of the big missions from the Heal Scotland perspective is educate, inspire, support. So I think if most Western people, the default is if I'm unwell, I'll go to the doctor. But that's definitely changing now as we start to understand a lot more about the body. But if you have got some health issue, and perhaps the drugs haven't worked or the operation hasn't worked or whatever, that's when most of us are forced to start looking elsewhere. And of course, one of the problems with that is if you don't understand, you've heard the words herbalist, homeopathy, naturopath, but you don't really know where to go and spend your time. So this podcast, and obviously everybody's coming to the festival, be able to meet you. You're going to be there for the weekend and ask you their own questions. And obviously you're going to be doing a talk. So can you just explain what homeopathy is?
Okay, so homeopathy, the way that I always explain it is it's like acupuncture, but without the needles. So it's energy medicine. So when you go to an acupuncturist, and acupuncture is another fabulous modality, they will stick some needles into you. The needles don't have any medicine inside. They don't have anything special. They're just needles, but they will go into your energy, very specific energy points. And their goal is to stimulate your own immune system so that you do the healing. Homeopathy works on exactly the same principle. It's energy medicine. The remedies per se there's not even any substance in them. It's energy, it's vibrational energy, but their goal is not to cure anything, but rather to match your frequency, because we're all vibrational beings. And if you match your own personal frequency, then your own immune system will be stimulated. And that's when you start the ball rolling, literally, and your immune system will start doing its job, and you do your own healing to the best of your abilities, to the best of your body's ability. Because the main principle is that we're all designed to self-heal. Our bodies have an innate intelligence, if you like. And so this is what homeopathy is.
That's brilliant. I've never heard it explained like that before. That's very clear. And I think, I've spent the Goddess Gathering tour talking about the meridian system and the energy field of the body, because I think that's the way medicine is moving, into the energy field. And obviously EFT, which is one of the things I teach, the barefoot walking is working with the meridian system. So that explains it perfectly. So it's frequency, and it's helping to, well, my friend always used to say it's like cleaning your drains, getting all the leaves, all the old stuff stuck. So How did you get into it? What was I was interested in, the journey into these different modalities.
Okay, so if you ask any homeopath, there's basically two types of homeopaths in the sense of where they started. So there are the homeopaths who are born into homeopathy because their parents were into homeopathy or are homeopaths. And then the other side is people who stumbled, fell into homeopathy because that was really literally the last resort. They could not find anything else that worked. And that's my case. But there are so many like me. So my son was diagnosed with autism when he was little. He was nonverbal. He had behavioral issues. He had cognitive issues, clearly. And I was told that there was absolutely nothing I could do. I just had to accept this. And I don't like the word no. And I don't like when people tell me, I mean, I totally respect everybody's opinion, but I need to understand. So, when you're faced with something where they tell you you can't do anything about it. Why? Because you can't. But have you tried? No, but we know that we can't. Well, how do you know if you didn't try? So that was the kind of conversation that I had initially. And so I thought, well, there has to be something that I can do. And I'm not talking about cure. I'm not talking about full recovery or whatever, but I just wanted my son to be happy and to express himself and be free to express himself. And he wasn't. So I started looking. And so I went into functional medicine and biomedicine and tried all the doctors and all the potions and all the tests and everything. And then there was nothing working. And then I finally stumbled into this lady who was a homeopath who was practicing in Stirling. And she specialized in children with complex needs. And so I went to see her. And first of all, for the first time, my son actually made eye contact with this lady. Wow. He liked this lady. And I thought, well, if my son likes her, it's probably because she was not trying to prod him and poke him. Can you do this? Can you do that? Etc. Which really, my son did not react well at the time with that. But she really treated him like a child. She smiled at him and he smiled back. And I thought, okay, so I'm staying. I like this. And then she started to give him stuff, little pellets. And I started to see very subtle shifts in him, in the way that he looked, in the way that he behaved, really subtle. And so I kept going back, but I kept asking questions because I had no idea what she was doing. I had no idea what she was giving him. And to the point where she must have been fed up and she said, you know what, here's the book, read this. And and see how you get on. And it was Miranda Castro's handbook, homeopathy handbook, which I still use for my course, Homeopathy for Beginners, because it's really, really amazingly simple, easy to understand. It's so engaging and it's practical. And I fell in love and I started to go more and more into it. And then I thought, well, I'm spending so many hours in the day reading about it. I might as well see if I can retrain myself and qualify as homeopath. And I found a fabulous school. And I didn't even know how lucky I was, because I found this school, which is really, really well known all over the place, because it was Mission Orland School of Homeopathy. And for those who don't know, Mission Orland was unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. He was one of the greatest. Everybody knew. And I only realized when I started to talk to other homeopaths and I was saying, well, I'm studying with Mission Orland, and people would be like, oh,
you didn't realize.
It's like the Elvis of homeopathy.
Great analogy.
And so, so I had great teachers. I loved every second of the school, the clinical hours, the supervision. I was just so lucky. I just kept bumping into amazing people, amazing teachers. So that's how it started.
Amazing. And tell me, how's your son now?
Well, the thing is, he is completely verbal. Wow. In fact, he's too verbal. I wish he would stop. He's a teenager now, so he's got all the teenage stuff going on. and he's in secondary school, and he's really doing well. I mean, he is autistic, yes, you can tell. He has his little obsession, his passions. He's passionate about trains, and he loves technical stuff. But he can express himself. That's what I want. I just want him to be happy. He can have friends. He was always desperate to connect with other people. He just didn't know how to. And he just, he has a life. That's all I asked. I don't care about, curing this or that. As long as you can have the freedom of expression. That's what health is. The definition of health is freedom to express your creative being. That's why they say that even Stephen Hawking, he was the healthiest person on the planet, even with all these physical issues. But he had this amazing mind. He could create concepts and theories and books and everything from a wheelchair. How amazing is that? So that's what I wanted. So yeah.
That's so lovely to hear, because I think as a parent, probably your child having friends, although we probably don't articulate or think about it because usually it's kind of taken for granted. It must be very hard if they can't have friends, and if they can't communicate, then how does that work? Especially, has he got any siblings? Have you just got one?
No, I have a daughter. I had a daughter first, and so that's also a blessing because he was never on his own, and he had his bigger sister as a model to learn things.
Yes.
But you can tell the difference. And my daughter, always having friends, going out and this and that. He was always desperate. And you also get children who don't want to communicate, who are happy not to. There is there's so many different. It's a spectrum, so many different shades of this. And some people, even as adults, they are comfortable with themselves. They don't necessarily need to, and that's absolutely fine. And I would have been fine with that. But I could tell my son, even at from an early age, he just loved parties. He loved gathering people. He used to hate the fact that his birthday is on Christmas Day.
All right.
He hate that
you
because
missed out on an opportunity.
Yeah, he couldn't have parties. He couldn't have friends over because, of course, it's Christmas and everybody's with their own families. So we used to have to organize his birthday in June so that he could invite as many people as possible, because that's what he loves. He loves having people around the house, having people over. So I could see he was not getting what he needed. He's really a social guy, social being, and he loves to share. So I had to do something, at least try to make it happen for him.
That's a lovely story, really lovely story. So do you find then, do people come to you with say children's, I can't remember the phrase that you used.
Complex children. I like to, because there's so many labels these days. There's
I know I much prefer that term. It sounds, because let's face it, we all have complex needs, but I think that that kind of sums it up without making it there's something wrong,
Exactly, because there isn't anything wrong. It's just understanding and giving the body the chance, because in most cases, yes, there are also underlying issues, usually toxins. And so I work with that, and we do that. So that's one of my specialisms, and I work with families, with children. But by extension, because it's a kind of autoimmune condition, it is really a medical condition, and autoimmune covers all sorts of other things. And so I started to deal with other things as well that covered the autoimmune, fibromyalgia and ME and things like that, and all the things where the doctors basically tell you, well,
this is it.
Yeah.
Interesting. A friend of mine was telling me a story. They just found a couple of cysts, and she asked if there was anything that she could do, and they said no, there's nothing. And I just didn't even, I used to always go, yes, there is. Now I'm just like, I'm too tired to try and convince people how powerfully the body can change when you do certain things, because, you know, it's you can expend a lot of energy. It's just easier just to work with the people that are already looking for these solutions.
Yes.
And
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I totally understand, because I remember at the beginning, you know, when you first learn something new and you find that it works and it's wonderful, you're so evangelical about it and you want to tell everybody, and like, yeah, try this, it's great. That's
yeah,
the typical, you know, the freshman thing. But now I'm like, you know, I don't have the energy anymore. You know,
it's
if you ask, yeah,
it still blows me
I'm
away
happy.
that doctors or specialists are saying there's nothing you can do. I just find it mind blowing in today's world with all the incredible things and all the
And
books written that
isn't
people
that
do.
powerful though, in a negative way? It's
Absolutely.
nocebo. You know,
I
people go
know.
on about oh, it's all placebo, homeopathy is placebo. Well, first of all, don't knock placebo
I
because it's a
know.
thing.
Yes.
But equally, be mindful and you know, recognize that what you're doing is nocebo. When somebody tells you, a doctor, especially somebody with a white coat and authority, well, you know what, you've only got, you know, 3 months to live, or you'll never walk again, or da 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 da. That's it. That for so many people, that's it. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
completely overpowers you.
Yeah, and obviously some people are so much more suggestible than others, you know, and I think so people take on that information. Like you or I would be like, watch this space. But other
Mhm.
people just capitulate to to that narrative, and it can be very difficult. You know, I tend to work with people who have been diagnosed terminal, and very often they've been given a pretty horrific, you know, description to go with what that's going to mean. And for me, trying
Mhm.
to help them let go of it, you know, it's a challenge, because if you've taken it on like that,
Yeah.
you know, to unhear it and to really truly think it's just like that elephant in the room that they've warned me. It's like ancient witchcraft. It's that hexing, isn't it? It's like,
It is. And it's, again, it's about frequencies, because we don't realize how powerful our words are.
you know,
When we say something, that's literally a spell.
I
You
know.
go into, you emit, you give out, you share a vibration, and the vibration can be high or it can be low.
Mhm.
That's why, you know, listening to the news is not healthy. It's low vibration, fear and rage and anger and fear and more rage and more anger, and no,
Well, that's how you get
that's
controlled. They knew that
yeah.
from Cambridge Analytica and the Great Hack. They set out, they can tell by the 15,000 pieces of information they have on each one of us who is, to use their word, suggestible. And then
Mhm.
when they discover that you are this percentage of people who they then target the videos to instigate two emotions, anger and fear. And by doing that, you and I wouldn't get the videos, but the suggestible people are getting them, and they're coming to get your schools, they're coming to all your hospital places. You know, it's
Mhm.
all of this, and then before you know it, you've got people voting or buying or you know, a certain way. It is. I mean, it's clever,
Mhm.
but it's evil genius.
Yes, yeah, it is evil genius, yes. But that's what all the algorithms are about, and
Yeah.
they have perfected this art. It's always been there. I think that powerful people have always used it since the Adam and Eve, but
Yeah.
now they've got tools.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think if you've watched The Great Hack, I don't think they really understood how well it was going to work. Actually, how suggestible humans are. It's quite mind blowing. It's very, very interesting to understand how you can brainwash people. And yeah, so we're going to try and do that for the good. So let's talk about the festival. So
Yes.
tell us what you're going to talk about at the festival, because we're having this whole tent, which is like come and meet Giovanna, the homeopath, and I'm sure you've got other strings to your bow as well, like most of us have. We end up doing it, taking other things in and making our practice our own, you know, usually from the things that have worked on us or on our family and clients. So can you tell us about what people can expect?
Okay, so for this festival specifically, I'm going to talk about Bach flower remedies. And one of the reasons why I'm going to do this is because there's only a very limited number of flower essences. There's 38. So a workshop on homeopathy is like, how long is a piece of string? And, there are at the moment about 9,000 different homeopathic remedies.
Wow.
So I can't go there. I mean, either
Yeah.
everybody's going to fall asleep or, it's not going to work. But the idea is really to give everybody, we're talking about educating people, giving people tools to use for themselves. And Bach flower remedies are one of these tools. So there's only 38 of them. They're really easy to use. You don't need any. Yeah, okay. You can go on a course. I'm gonna do a course about that later on. However, what I'm going to show you is how you can use them for yourself, and you can mix and match, and also, of course, how they can help you. And the way that they help is on an energetic level. What does that mean? So yes, I've already said that homeopathy works on an energy. It's energy medicine that also works on your physical. It works on your physical level, mental level, spiritual level. Bach remedies work really on the energetic level, on the in the auric field, what was called aura. And now even science has recognized that we all have an electromagnetic field. And when you say electromagnetic field, it sounds more scientific than aura and more kind of legit, but it's the same thing. And so if you have, I'm going to come with practical tools so that after my explanation, people can also come up and say, okay, I'm going to have some forms where they can put, okay, what's my biggest issue right now? There's going to be a list. Is it depression? Is it sleep issue? Is it feeling overwhelmed? Is it exhaustion? And then we can talk about how and which remedy can work best for you. And you can mix and match and make your own combination remedy on the spot. I can show you how to do that, and you can do that for yourself, and you can take home your little bottle of recalibration. So it's all about rebalancing. Bach remedies are not technically considered homeopathic remedies because they're not made in the same way as homeopathic remedies. I don't want to go into the weeds and there's all sort of technicalities, but the main thing is that they are incredibly effective. And in fact, I used to be very snobbish about Bach remedies because it was not homeopathy. And so I thought, yeah, they only work on, if you're in a bad mood or something like that. And then I had a case of this lady. I was treating her for thyroid dysfunction. She was doing really well, but there was this thing that was still there, that she could not sleep. She couldn't fall asleep because she kept going on. She was, the typical, I can't switch off. My mind keeps going round and round and round. I keep reliving everything that I did, and I start saying, oh, I should have said that. I shouldn't have said that. And I should have done this. And then I can't sleep. And homeopathy was not helping that. It was not hitting that spot. And I didn't want to mess with the prescription because she was doing well otherwise with her main issues. And so I thought, right, okay, let's try one of these drops and see what happens. And I tried white chestnut, which is exactly what she was describing. It was exactly her situation. She could not sleep, mind not switching off, thoughts going round and round. She tried it once, a few drops, boom, fall asleep like magic, like a baby. I couldn't believe it. And so I started to go more deep into that because everybody knows about, probably everybody's heard of rescue remedy.
Yes.
Right. And everybody uses that. And I thought that was really about it. But no, I really had to eat humble pie and go back, and they are so amazing that they are an integral part of my practice. Because the thing is, whatever your condition, whatever you've got going on medically, really anything, it starts before it hits the physical. It really starts from your vibrations, from your field. And you don't even know, we don't notice most of the time because we're too busy, we don't pay attention. By the time it hits the physical, you've been sick for a long time, for much longer than you think. Even though your symptoms started yesterday, you've been ill and imbalanced for much longer than that. So the backflower remedies really help you out, and you become more in tune with yourself. You start to notice yourself, even the thoughts that you think, the slight mood that you're in. And so just a couple of drops and you can nip it in the bud. You know, the procrastination. I know, it's like, you know, even, oh, I can't be bothered, I know I need to do this, no. And it sounds like something trivial, but if you keep going down that, you know, slippery slope, then it becomes it almost becomes depression. It becomes, can't do anything about it, becomes heaviness. You can stop that in its track if you know which one to take. As I said, there's only 38 to choose from. You don't have to spend years studying. Okay, just a short course, or you know what to do, and then you're away and you can use that anytime. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, one of my friends, she has recommended to me to get into it, but there's so many things for me to learn. I think I'm just like, no, let me pass people to all the amazing people that are doing stuff like that, because you know I'm really focusing in on the biofeedback and the HRV, and really for me it's all about, we have to be thinking long term. There is no magic easy fix. We're so out of alignment and a lot of things need to change. Much as it's lovely to get something that can help you effortlessly, and I like the sound of the backflower remedies because a lot of my clients are young mums and they are literally already up to here with stress and toxicity. And you know, so I'm always looking for things that don't have a huge financial impact, and also that can be, and don't have a huge time impact, because you know, if you're a busy mum and then I come in and start saying, well, you need to do this and you need to change this and you need to start, you know, it's none of these things can happen because we're talking about somebody who's already, usually, as I say in my case, they've already been terrified about their body. So yeah, that sounds like a fantastic, lovely thing, you know, that could be within most people's budget, and certainly in terms of time, it's something that you can do that's going to actually make you feel better instead of beating yourself up about all the things that you're not doing. So that's brilliant.
And guilt is one of, there's a remedy for that too.
Fantastic, because that's a big thing for probably not.
Oh yeah, for mothers, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's amazing. So people be able to meet you and talk to you, and so can you consult online?
Yes, in fact, most of my work is done online.
Okay. How long would your first session be?
So if it is for a chronic, there's a chronic and an acute scenario. So an acute is typically, you know, your cold, your flu, or something that, as you know, it's not chronic. Okay. If it's something chronic that you've been suffering for a number of years, etc., you're talking about between 1 and 2 hours as a first consultation, because I need to take down all the history and as much detail as I can.
And what's the cost, Giovanna?
So for chronic, I typically ask for some commitment. So a minimum of 3 months commitment, and that would be £360. And I include remedies with that. I send them in the post wherever you are in the world. And I also do some bioscan. I work with a bioscan, which is an energy scanner that can determine if you have any underlying issues like parasites or heavy metals, etc., etc.
You just answered my next question, right? Because that, you know, that's definitely something I think we're starting to realise, isn't it? Is can be the root cause, the heavy metals. And I'm sure with, like any child that's exhibiting autistic, that'd be one of the first things I would be interested in, and any parasites or worms as well. So yeah, that's fantastic. And I think we have to have that commitment for at least 3 months. It's got to probably even be longer than that to keep the habits.
Yeah, depending on what it is. But of course, I
certainly,
don't expect people to start committing. I mean, I do, because I tend to work with families and treat whole families together,
that's
which
brilliant.
also helps.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We need to do that as well when we get the healing centre in Skye. You need to come there, because I've said that, especially if somebody in the family's been diagnosed with a terminal cancer, especially a young person, where you're just like that. No, things need to change. It has to be the family, I think, or the inner circle. It doesn't need to be a biological family, but the people that are there that are like, I'm going to support you, I'm going to help you, I'm going to, do a lot of this with you, if you like, so that, because it's so challenging when you're saying, well, do something different from what everybody else is doing. You can't eat with us, you can't go out and party with us, you can't, it's all, that's when you become so cut off and lonely, because you feel like you're the only one, and that's what we want. I'm like, how can we make healing an exciting and liberating journey rather than a depressing and, agonizing one? That's really, my kind of thing. We need to be able to, because if somebody said to you, right, in 2 years, you're going to be absolutely free from all disease, you're going to be totally connected, you're going to be full of energy every morning you wake up, why would you not be excited about that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you understand, the first step is sharing your opening your body, because that's when you realize that, first of all, you're not the first one, and you're not alone.
Aye, exactly.
And the first healing happens in the first consultation, because finally you are opening up, and you don't have that fear. Because of course, you can have friends, etc., but you don't keep telling your friends all of your problems all of the time, because they're your friends, and you don't want to, whatever, you don't want to bother people. But if you're a therapist, that's my job. I mean, sometimes patients even apologize, and I'm so sorry, and oh, I must be the worst, I must be the person with the most number of symptoms, and the most messed up. And I'm like, I'm a therapist, this is my job, first of all, and second, you're not the first, you're not the only one. And people come to me, I've seen it, because people don't come to me to have a chat, people come to me because they have problems. So I have seen problems before. So don't worry about it, and even just that, because you're so into your own pain, and you think, oh my gosh, I'm the only one who can help me, I'm on my own, etc., and you're not. So I think that to realize that already would make it exciting. I'm not the only one, I can talk to people.
Absolutely. And it's far more fun to do it with others, whatever we're doing. It's more fun if there's a lot, and we can encourage each other. You can see that from all the cold water groups that are popping up all over the world, never mind in Scotland. It's great to see women getting together and doing these things that even just the fact that you've made yourself do it gives you a high. It's great to be able to support each other like that. So listen, thank you so much, and I'm very excited to learn more about Bachflower remedies at the festival myself, because it's now, you hear something coming to you quite a few times, and you think, oh, I think somebody's trying to tell me something here.
That's right. Yes. Follow the voice.
Yes, and anybody listening to this, even if you're not coming to the festival, you can come along and meet Giovanna, or I've put your website up there. People can contact you directly if they want to make an appointment with you. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. Great. I'm delighted that you're going to be there. So thank you so much for your time, and I will see you in a few short weeks.
Yes, thank you again. Bye, everybody.
Cheers now.